Lux Angus here. So today I want to talk about what I have recently discovered, and it is about a very deep kind of prison break, jailbreak, and out of three particular jails actually. And it is your heart, your mind, and your soul, basically. All of these three things are right now imprisoned, so to say. What I mean by imprisonment? Well, there are certain things at play in our society, in our programming, in our upbringing that kinda wires us to function, to think, to perceive in certain ways. And these perceptions are not always beneficial to us. For example, what I've recently discovered about myself because of my also clipothic initiations and craft workings in Arab Sarak, with Cain actually, is like my own inner wounds, so to say, in regards to being like Cain, to being like this outsider, to being like the person who has this enlightened black flame, so to say, that not many people have, and not many people can cultivate on the long run, because the black flame is literally something that will sooner or later eradicate and burn away all the things that are artificial in nature to you, to your evolution, and also to your surrounding people. So this makes you naturally more so an outsider. But there's like more than that, because of one's own fundamental differences in philosophy, in perception, in practices. You will face most likely very much rejections of your society, of people, of, generally, because you went down a very difficult path, so to say, that not many people can go down, don't want to go down, and perceive as bad in a sense, which is very intentional actually. And this can, on the long run, somewhere hurt you, or like somewhere make within you instilled that you are unwelcomed by nearly everything and everybody. So it can become a trauma actually. It can become a perception of reality that is not every damn time true. Sometimes we are imprisoned by our own heart, by our own hurt of our heart. Sometimes our own hurtings of our heart can cause emotions to you then to think negatively, about yourself. It's not like it's a very, very good mixture actually of how are you feeling is like how you were thinking, and how you will think is how you will feel. So there are two aspects, two prisons. If your heart is very hurt, has very deep traumas, like your emotions, very deep traumas, very deep experiences that needs to be processed, it can be a prison that you are imprisoned yourself within due to some difficulties that were too much for you, your emotional body to handle. So it stores as a scar or open wound within your heart. So you start to feel generally like as a normal thing bad about certain situations, circumstances out of pure nature, instinct, and mechanism. So sometimes your own heart can be a prison. Then your mind start to think like, damn, I'm actually not a good person in a sense. And I don't perceive myself as a good person or as a bad person. I'm just a person. I'm just me. I'm just an individual, so to say, who has one's own imbalances in certain aspects of my being that cannot always be beneficial to myself or other people, so to say. More I see it's more negative or positive, like it's evil or good. For me, it's like a kindergarten version of positive or negative energies and actions, and I don't know what else. So yeah, so if you're feeling bad, you will start to think bad. If you start to think bad, you will start to feel bad or negative. So it's like it goes both ways. And when you start to realize actually you can actually manipulate your thinking, you can manipulate your feeling, so to say. And if you can manipulate your feeling, you can manipulate your thinking. But this must be on a very authentic and profound basis for a change to happen. What that means is basically, this 0815 Neville Goddard or like these positive thinking gurus, yeah, they can be helpful to a certain extent. But what I feel like why some people or most people do not kind of generate permanent change or are giving up on the way because they are approaching it on a very inauthentic way. And this came through with me with Belial, working with Belial, that actually you need to have a correspondence with the things you affirm yourself to be, you manipulate yourself to be, must have a physical correspondence. It must be real, it must be touchable. So, you literally make this real on every aspect, not only in the mind, in your heart, but also in the physical. So if, for example, how can this look like? Is, for example, I am disciplined. I am disciplined. I am now permanently more and more disciplined. And you can make this in connection, for example, you need to be more physically more disciplined. So for example, you go a 1 week water fast, or like, I know you don't need to do such hardcore things as I'm doing, but for example, you do a 1 week or 3 days water fast, you're disciplined, you don't eat food. Or you go 3 days a week, you go to the gym. It requires discipline and willpower to do that. So I have strong willpower. So what you are doing is like you go out there, climb a mountain, and climbing mountains or going a wandering tour of mountains requires willpower to overcome these obstacles. So it kind of has a correspondence to reality. You kind of start to think, actually, damn, it has truth to that. Actually, it's tangible. Actually, it's real. And I can actually accept this about myself. I actually deserve this. I actually am this. And you will see how this authentic, positive transformation takes much, much more sooner place. Instead of 1 trillion times listening to his affirmations to no end, and actually it doesn't change anything, because your subconsciousness, your mind, sometimes needs needs a reality behind them, a fundamental behind them, so it can build itself upon it. And so you can actually break out of your prison, of your mind, of your heart. What is with the soul prison? The soul prison, how many Gnostics or very spiritual people say like the earth is a prison? Well, for me it is a matter of perspective, actually. I don't think the earth is, of course, earth has its own aspect that can be a prison, but for me, earth in and of itself is a needed, a chemical matter, a needed substance. The materia is needed substance for the soul and spirit to evolve. It's like the third secret ingredient that certain souls and spirit needs, so they can potently evolve. At certain stages, you don't need to reincarnate anymore, and you cannot, like, you don't need to reincarnate anymore when you have evolved yourself so much, so you don't need anymore the material, the more raw and more dense spiritual energies such as the earth to evolve yourself. There's a certain level you can reach where such dense energies such as the earth or the material plane isn't needed anymore for your evolution. So you can still reincarnate out of your own free will, but sometimes, our levels of soul and spirit are not ready yet to just work on the higher energies and frequencies. So sometimes spirit and soul needs a earthly plane to evolve oneself. So earth, in my opinion, is a needed element of one's own soul and spirit evolution. The problem is with the earth that many souls get like tricked, that they forget that they have a soul and they have a spirit, or like they think like the body is the only thing. No, the body is just a vessel. It's like another spiritual energies that your other original spiritual energies needs to reflect each other, to make this alchemical process, like in this laboratory, in a sense, like this mixture, this essence goes to this essence, and then kind of becomes a result, and it goes back to this essence. It's a ongoing process of alchemy and self-transformation being on the earth. And many people, because they don't think like the spiritual realm isn't real, or the spirit or soul isn't real, they get lost in it. They get imprisoned by the earth. They get imprisoned by certain systems of thinking, of feeling, because everything that you perceive right now, the books, the language, the things that you're learning, everything is just built upon ideas or upon symbols, upon someone who has like had to make this thing up so we can understand certain things. So everything you see, a book, a lamp, a house, was someone's idea on some point, someone's enlightenment on some point, And it's the same. It's the same with a language. It's the same with the things that you understand and can communicate with. Everything isn't as ultra logical, as only physical as you believe it to be. Many things are very abstract, very, very subtle in nature, actually, the thing about it. And many people forget it, so get imprisoned. And this today's society and how everything is functioning in a sense is actually, in a sense, spiritually negative. They use spiritual technologies, actually, if you think about it, against you in a certain degree, to be a catalyst of your evolution. And though they use, for example, Kabbalistic programming or dark Kabbalistic programming to encapsulate and subconsciously program your soul and spirit away from you, so you simply become a shell, a hollow person, a person who is very disconnected with one's own soul. The spirit can still be here, but soul, if this isn't here, you literally lose power, so to say. Soul is literally your power. So there is many programming out there, religions, beliefs, systems, the music industry, or like the industries generally likes to have consumers, likes to have people who don't have essence, who don't have origin. Because if people become more original, become more whole in and of themselves, they become creators. They become creators of their own perception and thus reality. So there is a dark programming out there that kinda has the effect that people lose touch with their own primal power, which is their soul, and also partially their spirit. So they imprison your soul and spirit, but not for the purpose like to be completely evil, so to say, or anything like that, but for the purpose to be a catalyst also to your own evolution and ascent. So when you finally realize these things, that you can break free and use this averseness, use this resistance as a training ground for your will, for a true will to be stronger and overcome it, so to say, without weight, without some restrictions, without some challenges. There is no muscle growth, so to say. So I see it as a challenge, nothing else. It's not like these people are this and these people are that, because if you start doing that, you are projecting your power away onto them. You must see it as a challenge to overcome and to become stronger through it. Sooner or later you will win. And when you start to believe that, to acknowledge that you are the origin of the power, you are the possessor of a soul, and you start actually the process of initiation to get your soul and spirit back in their own power, is the process you become also on the soul and spirit level, also free to a good degree. So yeah, today's topic was like, yeah, you have three prisons: your heart, your mind slash spirit, and your soul, that you need to break out from. And I start doing that naturally. Like this is not a huge scheme that it needs to have a huge logical plan, that everything needs to be mechanical. No, it happens natural actually. The moment you make the conscious intent that you want to become free and liberated on these levels, and to choose according to your own true will, and deifying yourself to walking the left-hand path, the self-deification path, is the moment naturally things happen in your life that will allow you to manifest such things. For example, me, you are talking to me right now, like you're watching me right now. It's a manifestation of your will to be more conscious, to become more free. Because I myself am an initiate, I myself have gained a good amount of freedom. I'm not completely there yet, but I can say that I have grown and achieved many things that I don't think many people will experience or achieve, in a sense, because of my willingness to initiate and become free. So yeah, if you are interested to become one day in a life, or in this lifetime, or sooner than just in this next lifetime, than that, like, you should consider watching my content, consider supporting me through the Patreon, because in there I have literally so many things and tools that have helped me very much to become free, to become more powerful, to become more authentic in every way of my being. And yeah, other than that, I've also free content generally, so that is, I think, very valuable to consider and to watch. And yeah, other than that, Naga bless, and we shall see and hear us surely again.